My first musical influences, as I talk about in my book, I grew up in church. When I say I grew up in the church, I grew up in the church. I was always around music. I remember, my father was a pastor, my mom was a pastor. My father could sing, play the guitar. My mom could sing. She loved to play the tambourine. Brother played the guitar, played the piano. My sister played the piano. Both my sisters played piano and could sing. Just around music all the time. But one of my key memories was, my father, he was very popular. And when we weren't at our church, we were going around to visit other people's churches, or my father was a guest minister somewhere. But I remember once upon a time when I was younger, this had to be, I'm going to say early teens maybe. And by this time, I think I had started playing the saxophone, but not actively playing in church. But one of my early memories, because again, as I point out in my book, I had never seen a woman play the saxophone, and I certainly had never heard a saxophone being played in church. But my daddy, of course, was like, if you're going to play the sax in school, you're going to bring it to church. Well, I hadn't counted on that. So I remember we went to visit this church in Newport News. I don't remember the name of the church, but it was a storefront church. I do remember that much. It was previously a small corner store or whatever, converted to a church, not uncommon in a lot of your urban areas. And before we can even get in, you can hear the music going, what we call praise service. The music is going, people are clapping, they're stomping their feet, they're playing the tambourines. You hear the keyboards, the organ, the guitars going. But piercing through all of that sound, I heard a sax. And the sax, I couldn't get enough of it. All I heard was it's like, oh my goodness. I do not, to this day, I don't know who the man was that was playing. Again, this is probably 35 years ago. I'm still young, by the way. I'm not much older. And we would record services back then. We had old school little tape recorders. And so I had it on tape. I must have played that tape 100 times that same evening. I know my parents were probably sick of hearing it, but they never discouraged me. I kept playing that tape over and over. That sound was it captivated me. It was such an influence on who I am because I became known as the gospel saxophonist, the girl who plays the horn. And I don't know if that gentleman is still alive today. Someone might know him. I just know we were at a church in Newport News. It was a storefront, and this man was playing that horn. And that really is one of my core memories of my early beginnings evolving into the well-known gospel saxophonist. I'll talk in another segment about that whole title of gospel saxophonist. I have some thoughts around that, but that's one of my early core memories that shaped me. From there, I continued playing from my father said, "You're going to bring that horn." I was so scared. I remember the first time I played a solo. We were having a talent program at our church, and it was going to be my debut. They had invited people. It was going to be my debut playing the saxophone in front of folks. And the first song I ever played as a solo was a song called "He That Endureth." He that endureth, he that endureth, he that endureth shall be saved. For the race is not given to the swift, neither is it given to the strong, but to him. I'm not good on words and vocals and all that stuff. But to him that endureth to the end. And I got up there like Brown says in the Tyler Perry play, and I teeter-tottered, and I tinched on up there. My daughter's gonna love this. That's one of our jokes. We always recite movie scripts, so that's one of our things. So I remember I tinched on up there. And I played that solo. And the folks got happy. I said, what just happened? The folks was like, hey, look, open. They started running, they started dancing, and they started shouting. I said, oh, wow. They really liked that. Oh, they felt something. Wow. And the rest is history. I kept playing. One of the things about me, I have to feel what I'm playing. I have to understand the story behind the lyrics. I credit my mother with that. When I started playing in the band, and I was like, I don't want to play this stuff that the band, and I started developing my ear, and my mom pulled me aside one evening and she said, look, you're doing good, baby, you're doing good, but you need to learn a song. You make sure you know the song. Don't get so carried away and all the little all that. That's good. But you must learn a song. So I'm very careful when I play, or when I approach any song, to understand the lyrics of the song, because the song has to minister to me first. I don't care if it's a gospel song, if I am playing a love ballad for a couple, I've performed for, engagements or anniversaries, weddings. That song has to speak to me, and I have to understand the mindset of the songwriter, because I have to be able to put myself in it. So that's something my mother taught me. So with hymns, I love playing hymns, and sometimes I have to not detach myself, but I have been playing, and in the midst of playing, tears will just form in my eyes because I think about the meaning of the lyrics. Again, the song has to mean something to me. But these are just some of my early core memories from playing, and how I became the girl that plays the sax. So in a sense, I've been playing for several years, but I feel like I'm just getting started again. So girl, play that sax. Play that sax. And that's for every other girl, every other woman that plays a horn, for every little girl that might think that, oh, it's hard, I don't know. You can do it, because I did it. So I say to you, whatever you put your mind to, you can do it. This story, yes, it's a children's book, but I've had adults tell me that this book inspires them. So take a read. It might just inspire you. This has been Luefras with a little bit of my story.